night a week, five night a week. Uh, Daily dose of all things arm wrestling, and tonight we're bringing to you two very, very special young men who will be appearing at the AWE Grand Prix happening this Sunday, folks. So if you haven't already tuned in to the podcast, we're making you aware right now, 23rd of March. It will be happening right here in Adelaide. You can be there in person by way of registration, and you can certainly register in the comments tonight. Just let us know if indeed you're going to be there to see these two young men on screen right now who will be competing in the Grand Prix event. That is for the AWE middleweight title. There will be a very impressive belt adorning somebody's waist and or shoulder, depending on how they choose to carry that belt at the end of proceedings. And two of the 8 men competing for that particular belt are here with us this evening. Ladies and gentlemen, it is your number 1 seed, Taran Broad at the bottom of the screen, and Jacob Tuxworth at the top of the screen. Thank you very much for joining us, gentlemen.
Howdy,
So, now, apologies first and foremost. Hollywood Matt Connelly could not be there, and to all of the people in the comments, we apologise in advance because we know it's a big reason why you tune in. You want to see a beautiful double bicep pose at the beginning of each and every podcast, and well, I can't do that tonight. Maybe the men on screen can assist you with any double bicep deficit you may be experiencing at this point in time, but we'll certainly go to the comments in the not too distant future. There we go. There's some compensation for you. Very, very impressive, Taran. Very impressive. So I've been getting the measurements come through as we've been going through the tail of the tape, and Taran, you seem to be the one that's maxing out the measurements at this stage. 19 inches at a little over 85 kilos right now, but you assure me you'll be dipping under the 85 mark just in time for the event. 85 kilos, 19-inch biceps, forearms about 16 or so inches. Is that right?
Yeah, that's correct.
Very, very impressive. And all at 5'8", and of course, Jacob, you've got a completely different build. You're a much taller man. You've got the longer levers, slightly smaller measurements overall, but nonetheless, very, very impressive. It all translates very nicely on the table. Now, you've both got slightly different pathways to victories, and I'm sure after seeing the seedings announcement from Hollywood Matt Connelly, you would have been doubling down on your homework to see exactly what is the most direct and easy pathway to victory for you both. Can I ask you first, Jacob, in looking at the seedings and seeing a pathway there, how's it looking for you?
I'll be versing Ruben first, so he's first up in where I'm in the seedings. I'm pretty confident about that one. I have versed him multiple times in the past, so I do know the lane there. And then if I do win that one, go on to verse Josh Barker, which will be interesting because I've never pulled him before. He has a very interesting style.
So you've never come up against Josh Barker before?
No, I never pulled him before.
Wow. Okay. All right. Well, this is going to be really interesting. And in Ruben, you've got, well, essentially the closest to you in terms of physicality in the event. I think Ruben is the tallest in the event. Big long levers, huge hand by all reports as well. Have you had any experience pulling Ruben before? Of course, at AWET series, we saw the both of you duel it out on the table. But have you had any more recent experience than that?
I think the most recent time that I arm wrestled him was East vs West qualifiers, which was nearly a year ago now. So we'll see how far he's progressed, but I'm pretty confident with how much I've progressed since then.
Well, in our conversation with Ruben, he seemed a little fearful is not the word, but certainly challenged by your progress, which he feels is really obvious. He's obviously following you on the socials and seeing the weights that you're now carrying and your recent performances. And it's certainly been enough to not just impress Ruben, but many in our 8-man field.
Yeah, well, I've been training pretty hard non-stop for as long as I've been arm wrestling, just for that goal to get to the elite level. And I hope I can show it on Sunday.
Well, you're certainly seated in the top half of the ticket, and the man that's sitting right at the top of that pile right now is Taran Broad, seated number one. All the pressure on you now. Taran, normally you're not seated quite so high, but you're also competing against guys that are normally twice your body weight. So on this occasion, you are the big man in the field. You are the one that everybody's seeking to knock off. And how does it feel to have that, well, that new pressure of being the number one seed?
It's definitely a good pressure. Like, I finally get to test myself against some like very good guys at my weight instead of versing someone who's like 40 kilos heavier or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and what a contrast. It's
Yeah.
and now coming into the field, you've got your own pathway there, and we heard Josh Barker last night talking about inevitably coming to colliding with you in the final. But do you see it quite that way?
Most likely, because I got Marty first, which is I'm most likely going to win that, and then but then I got Zuzi, I think his name is, and
Yeah.
like if that's a hard match for me, I could be gassed and Josh could be fresh. You know what I mean? Just because of his fast style. So I'm hoping I can beat Zuzi like easier.
And Zhu is number one in Singapore. He is an unknown quantity. He's the X factor coming into this event in a similar way to Nick Vella, being Guy Tanaput's last minute replacement, and who is being mentored by Brett Coots, who will certainly be in his corner on the day, and he comes very highly recommended. So we do have a couple of athletes who I guess a bit of an unknown quantity when it comes to the lineup, which is exciting by the same token. But Zhu is he's looking strong. He moves very well on the table. Greg Yeo has nothing but really good things to say about him. Have you had much of an opportunity to look at the back catalogue, have a look at any videos or anything online that might help you better prepare against you?
Yeah, I've watched a few videos. He's newer and he's definitely improved a lot the last couple years. Like watching his recent ones. Like if you look at was it Over the Top 2 where he placed and the people he's beating now is a big difference.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very, very interesting, isn't it? And Jude lands. We wish him all the very best with his travels. I think he might just be stepping on the plane as we speak, and he'll be stepping off in about a little over 10 hours' time. So he'll be landing here, the first of our athletes to make their way over to Australia. So very much looking forward to meeting the young man in person. And Jacob, who strikes you as one of those athletes that you're just thinking, I hope I don't get him. I hope I don't stumble into him. Stylistically, perhaps just isn't a good fit for you in terms of being able to progress easily through to the finals.
The man on the screen, Taran. I think he's definitely the hardest match for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a bit of a tough one, and I guess Taran, again, that extra pressure coming into this event. Now, you were due to perform at Grand Prix 2, and that's a heavyweight tournament. Of course, you would have been one of the lighter contestants in that lineup. And last minute, after the media shoot, you appeared in the paper. Everybody was expecting you to be there on the day, and of course, all of a sudden, you got one of the worst bouts of illness that you've experienced in your young adult life. So talk us through what happened with that and the disappointment, and maybe is that now feeding into your hunger to really make your mark at this event?
Well, to go to the beginning, there was a photo shoot and I had to turn my neck for a while for the photos.
So you're kind of like this, weren't you?
Yeah, for ages, probably for like 30 minutes. I was getting a bit of lactic acid. Then the next day, my neck was sore and I didn't know why, and I couldn't think of a reason except for the photo shoot. And then by the Friday before the event, I woke up with a fever of 40, and it was only downhill from there.
Wow. And you primed yourself for that event physically. I mean, you were competing against when we say almost twice your weight. I mean, we're not exaggerating. Marcus Tirai was competing in that same event. I think weighed in close to 170 kilos, and you were weighing in at what, around 95 at the time?
I think I got to like 94, but I was eating disgustingly and I felt like shit. Like I was literally having freaking olive oil and peanut butter in my shakes. Like it
Wow.
was nasty.
So you had to work really hard to get to a point where you're 10
I
kilos heavier than
it's basic.
what you are now.
It's basically on par with Josh Barker trying to get to 85. You know what I mean? It's the same kind of thing.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
And so competing close to your walk around weight, how does that feel?
a lot better. And I'm doing a lot more cardio now, and I feel a lot fitter.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, cardio. Hang on.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm running now. I can do like a 6.5 minute mile, which is decent.
Really?
Yeah,
Are we going to start seeing you even arm wrestle on left now? Is that what's next after hearing this?
yeah. I'm
This
never
is
going to be
cool.
I'm never going to be that delusional. I'd be in a stray jacket at that point.
So, for those that don't know, Taran does have an aversion to competing on left. He doesn't like it. He hates it when we put the footage up of him losing on left there. He claims it's atrophied to the point where he's like that Indian guru that has his arm stuck in the air. He just does not like it. But although on screen it's pretty impressive when you go with both of them. They don't you don't look like there's a lot of
Um,
asymmetry going on there. They both look pretty ginormous.
I actually train them equally. I think my left is an inch smaller, but my right just seems to strengthen quicker, and I get less inflammation and less soreness, so I can train heavier. And
Yeah.
I currently got a torn ulna on my left for the past 2 months as well, so I couldn't train
Wow.
heavy on my left. So it's just going more and more downhill, which is fine by me.
As long as people only see it from one side, it's not a problem. It's only for those full frontal
Yeah.
images that it becomes a bit of an issue. So Jacob, you're now naturally in the final days leading up to this event. It is this Sunday. It's currently Wednesday. There's only but a few days to go, and you've got some travel to do in that last 48 hours coming to the event. So what does your training look like? Do you taper off in that week leading up, or are you like Josh Barker setting PBs right up into the day?
I did my last hard training session on Monday.
Mm-hmm.
So about 6 days out. I went to my therapist yesterday, Paul. I go to Paul on the south side. He gets me tuned up, feeling nice and good for the competitions.
Yeah.
And now I'm just in full rest mode.
Okay. So you like to come in really nicely rested, no niggles, just feeling comfortable and strong. Are you much for warming up then before the event? Are you loading much, or you're just coming to the table nice, relaxed, ready to go?
A little bit of both. So I don't really do like a big warm up on the table or with bands or anything, but I do shake my arms around quite a bit, get them activated, a little bit warm, but I
Yeah.
do like to be pretty relaxed
Hmm.
on that first.
It was really interesting hearing Todd Hutchings talk about this at AWE too, when we were allowed to talk to Todd Hutchings, and he was saying he adopted the same mindset as powerlifters. Who he was just suggesting that you won't see a powerlifter go to set a record or a PB cold and fresh. They'll basically work up to that and almost go to almost their max weight with the set before, and then burst into that last set. But in the arm wrestling world, there seems to be some real conflicting theories and ideas around that. And you've taken the path. Obviously, you've tried both ways over the years.
Yep. I'm just worried about the endurance factor. I don't really want to get too pumped up before a arm wrestling match. So when you're doing powerlifting, you just have to get that one lift and you get a big rest. With arm wrestling, you could be in a minute or two grind of a war, and I really like to keep my endurance in the tank.
Very, very interesting. Taran, do you adopt a similar mindset there? Are you looking to come into the event well rested, or when was the last time you trained heavily, for
Yeah,
instance?
it was pretty similar to Jacob. I did my last session on Monday, but for the last week I went a bit lighter. I did my peak week 2 weeks out, like the heaviest, and then I tapered down a bit lighter and a
Mhm.
bit less volume, and then fully rest from there.
Okay, so when did you start your resting period then?
Monday.
Monday. So from here on in, you're just eating well, taking care of yourself, and making sure you're not hurting yourself bringing the groceries in.
Yes, definitely. Yeah.
And do you both have quite physically demanding jobs as well? No, Taran, you have over the years with furniture removaling and that type of thing previously. Do you find that your work is quite taxing physically as well?
Well, at the moment, I'm not working, but I recently did a security course, so I'm trying to get into security. I don't really want to do a taxing job and then do arm wrestling. It's horrid.
Yeah,
It's not.
yeah,
Yeah.
it would be. And how about you, Jacob?
I'm a personal trainer in a gym, so it isn't really too taxing. But besides taking and putting on weights,
Yeah. Do you try to experiment with your clients then? Like when you've got a bit of an idea about, oh, how am I going to peak for this? You know what? I might just try this out on one of my clients and see how that goes.
yeah, definitely, definitely.
So they're not clients, they're guinea pigs. That's what you're telling me. So if people want to sign
Well,
up to become
if
one of
it works
Jacob
with their
Tuxworth's guinea
goals,
pigs,
yeah. If
I
it works with
love
their
it.
goals, I might throw it in there.
You,
Yeah,
you just do studies on them and don't tell them, and tell them the results after.
yeah.
Human trial.
And have you toyed with the idea, Jacob, of having an arm wrestling specific protocol or specific training methodology that you can tailor for people that are looking to get stronger in those rules specific arm wrestling movements?
Yeah, thought about it a little bit, but I just want to keep climbing the ladder and improving, and maybe eventually I'll go down that route. But at the moment, just still experimenting quite a bit, making sure I'm doing what I'm finding works, finding what doesn't work, and yeah.
So I'll ask you both. The AWE Grand Prix event, of course, is tournament format. It's 8-man double elimination, first to pin. It is. Do you how do you feel about a tournament format as opposed to super matches? Jacob, perhaps if you want to
Yeah.
go first.
I do quite a bit of tournaments. I haven't done too many super matches, so I'm pretty comfortable in the tournament format. Just one and done, move on to the next round, next person, and yeah.
And do you prepare differently for a tournament as opposed to a super match, or is pretty much the regime leading up to it very similar?
It's very similar. It's very
Okay.
similar. So I've got a long-term approach where I'm just trying to increase all my strengths, and just keeping that consistent training going is what I'm aiming to do. So if I do get a super match, I might add something in there, but it's not going to be too big of a difference
And is
training
that
wise.
something more to do with your opponent than, or is it looking to block off one of their pathways, or is it where you feel like you're going to have a real advantage, so you work a little bit more on that, for instance?
Yeah, whatever I think is going to be the main thing that puts me in the match or keeps me in the match. That is what I'm gonna train, whether it be a weakness or a strength. But I'm always trying to close up my weaknesses for sure.
And has it been something you've been working on specifically leading into this event? That whether that's a weakness or maybe a weakness in one of your opponents you've identified that you feel like, okay, since seeing the seeding and understanding the draw, I think I'm going to work on a little bit more of this.
Yeah, at the start of the year, I started training my arms quite a bit more. So just trying to get that arm power up because I feel like
Mm.
my hand and wrist is pretty decent.
Yeah.
Of course, I'm still working my hand and wrist just as hard. Um, Two different kind of muscle groups there, so I feel you can work in both pretty decently. Um,
Yeah.
but uh, but yeah, just that arm power, just really trying to improve that.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. And Taran, I'll ask a question of you with respect to tournament play versus preparing for a super match. Do you have a preference?
Yeah, I actually prefer super matches, to be honest. I like just focusing on one. I just like focusing on one opponent and not having to worry about like 8 different styles. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? It's like a lot of
yeah.
mind games and stuff.
Yeah, yeah, and of course it can all go completely different ways. You can be preparing in your mind for a certain outcome or a most likely outcome, only to find that in the first round a result flips, and all of a sudden you're having to adjust to your next new opponent. So it does throw up those uncertainties. And are there any weaknesses that you've tried to improve upon leading into this event, or have you just kind of stuck to your tried and true method leading into it?
Yeah, I've basically just done similar stuff. I haven't really added anything. I'm just trying to get stronger all around, to be honest. Like arm, hand, everything. Like just so I just take
Just
everything from them.
just stronger, beating
Yeah,
everybody with strength. I love it. I love
basically
it.
stronger and stronger, and then stronger.
It's normally at this point I'd ask Hollywood Matt Connelly to jump in on the comments, so I'm just going to head there myself now, and of course the great man Brett Coots, and I am going to, before we go away tonight, ask for your predictions, both gentlemen, keeping in mind Brett's the only one that's kind of watching at the moment. I don't see Rickett in the comments, so but who will win between Brett Coots and Rickett Foreman for the left arm AWE heavyweight title? So I'll ask you in a few moments' time. But Brett Coots will certainly be there. Of course, he is the man. He has been the man on left for a very, very long time in this country. He's a multiple Australian champion, and he is there to defend his honour against the rising star of Rickett Foreman, who's been quite the phenomenon over the last 12 or 18 months, taking to the great stages of the world and proving himself on right hand. And on left, well, he did take out Marcus Tirai on left, who was a last-minute substitute for Brett Coots, who found himself injured and not that well leading into the last event. Still somehow finished the second on right, but lefty just wasn't willing to chance it. And so this is his opportunity at redemption to claim that crown for himself. And so that is for the AWE left-hand title belt, which we're looking forward to handing out on the day. The Siren Franch is there, and the singing arm wrestler will be singing Australia's national anthem at the AWE event. So we cannot wait for that performance. She's going to be frocked up and singing a little heart out, and we absolutely cannot wait for that. So stay tuned and be ready to be watching that when it comes up. Joshua McDonald, where's Josh Barker? Where is Josh Barker? Well, Josh Barker was there last night on the podcast. Let me just double check, make sure I did change that. Yep, no, that's right. There's no Josh Barker tonight. So Josh Barker was on last night. So if you do want to check out that podcast, you can see it on the AWE Facebook page, pretty much wherever you're watching now. Just jump on over and you'll see that in last night's episode where Josh boldly predicted that he would be in the finals with the man at the bottom of your screen right now. But Jacob Tuxworth's got a thing or two to say about that. Ashley Hoyt, New Zealand's strongest woman, the strongest bench presser in the world, female bench presser in the world. She bench pressed over 700 pounds. Actually, I think she's heading to Melbourne to reset her own record. Hey guys, Dave, I've got my mum here. Hi mum, hope you're well. She says hi and I hope you're well as well. So that's lovely. Ashley and her mum came over for the last AWE event. Were an absolute joy. I think we had a lovely lunch up at Harndorf and they got to experience a little slice of Germany here in South Australia on that particular day. And I think her mum had German sausages for the very first time. So and discovered a newfound passion for red wine at the same time. So it was lovely. Great to have Ashley's mum here tonight. And thanks for joining us, Ashley, the arm wrestling historia. And wink waving. There we go. Hope everything is well. I think there's a bit of an event coming up on his channel very, very soon where he will be going through the Fantasy League. This is an annual event on his channel, so we cannot wait for that. So if you haven't already subscribed, head over to the the Arm Historian channel. The Lucky Ones podcast, females in arm wrestling, Franch and Ashley and yourself all in the chat at the same time. It's absolutely amazing. It sounds like all the podcast guests you need in the one spot. Ladies are representing this morning. Well, it's arm wrestling tonight. So it's tonight here. Of course, it's beer o'clock somewhere in the world, and it is here in Australia right now. Ashley Hoyter, hi, Lucky. I'll send you. They're just having chats in the chat themselves. I'm getting in the way of the conversation. Good morning, Army. How you going? They're just chatting away, having a lovely little discussion. Yes, please. I'm so excited. Best wishes and good luck to you. I'm super keen on your success, and no doubt you'll knock it out the park. All the support in the chat, which is absolutely fantastic. Can't wait for the event. The Arm Historian says. We can't wait either. Just a matter of a few days to go now. Good luck for your event this weekend, Dave. Have the best time. Go, Brett. I think that's Ashley's favourite. So we know who she's going for on the day. Of course, Brett shared with Ashley some of the secrets and suggested to her that she wasn't naturally a top roller, but a hooker. And of course, we know that Brett is the king of the hook here in Australia. Sean Haley is there. Jacob. You know the name. It was Sean. Yeah, he's one of the guys at the club, or is he one of your guinea pigs?
Right. He's from the club.
Yeah. Fantastic, Sean. Thanks for joining us on the podcast, mate. So many amazing things happening this weekend. There certainly is. There's lots of amazing things happening. No more amazing than here in Adelaide on the 23rd. So, gentlemen, bold predictions before we go away with respect to the Brett Coots Rika Borman match. Jacob Tuxworth, how do you see this one going down?
Definitely a hard match to call. Did notice when Racket versed Marcus slowed him down a little bit. So I think I'm going to go with Brett. I think he's the favorite.
And do you think it's going inside?
I'm not sure. I think even if Rika takes his hands, Brett will still be in the match.
Yeah.
So it'll be. I'm not too sure.
Very interesting, but your money is on Brett walking away. Now, I will just give you this little tip as well. When Brett was on the podcast just a short time ago, apparently the left bicep is even larger than the right, which is crazy in itself. But he reckons he's at 21 inches on the left at the moment.
Yeah.
Pretty impressive. So Taran, you've pulled the great man on right just in the last 14 or 15 months, and was able to get a stop on a couple of occasions, and just enough to encourage you that maybe there's a point in the not too distant future where you might be able to take him on right. Now on left, of course, is a completely different beast as you are. It's almost the opposite in terms of how much extra Brett is stronger on left. You are correspondingly weaker on left. So how do you see this one going down on Sunday?
Yeah, there's a few factors, like you said. Brett is a lot stronger left, and Rickard only recently started training his left. And I feel like off the go, Rickard would get him halfway down to the pad, and then Brett's just going to hold him for a while, and then slowly work it, and then pin him. I think that's going to be the match every round, most likely. Unless he gets some crazy hand control, and it might look like the Bon Cantado match, but it's going to be difficult.
Yeah, that's right. And we have seen Brett challenged with Bowen Cantado, and I'd say stylistically a lot different to Rickett in that regard. Bowen is also one of these arm wrestlers. As strong as he is on right, he's very much a left arm specialist. He seems to have just that something extra. It feels like 10% more on left than on right. Brett exactly the same. So anyway, it's a very interesting matchup, and I guess it's been a long time coming, and we absolutely cannot wait. But Brett seems super motivated to get one of those AWE belts wrapped around his waist, as I'm sure you both are as well, and cannot wait for this Sunday. And I'll just, before we go away, of course, Jacob, how do you see things going down for yourself on Sunday? Do you see yourself? Have you been picturing yourself? Have you seen yourself in your mind's eye with that strap over your shoulder? Can you feel it? Jacob? Are you walking away the winner of the AWE middleweight belt title?
Definitely. You'll believe in yourself. There's no other way.
Taran, what have you got to say about that? How are you feeling about this? How do you feel about that comment? First and foremost, but how do you feel about your own chances on the day?
Well, it's good to be a little delusional.
Wow. Case of the Ryan Bowens you're suggesting.
Yeah. I'm gonna weigh in 80, 85 and then be 99 the next day. Easy.
So,
But yeah, I
just
think I got a good chance of winning. Like the only two people I worry about is Zhu and Josh Barker, because since he's got 10 kilos heavier, I don't know his like strength level. And also obviously he starts it very fast and could catch you off guard and all of that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's a few men who have that chance of walking away with victory, just depending on how their first rounds go, what the mix is in the second round, and ultimately where they end up thereafter. And of course, two of those men are on screen right now, and it's been a joy having you both on tonight. Thank you so much for joining us, gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen, it is Jacob Tuxworth and Taran Broad, two of your contestants at AWE Grand Prix 3. Thank you very much to everybody in the comments that's come along and joined us here this evening. We do apologise again that Hollywood Matt Connelly could not be with us, but maybe Taran and Jacob, if you could just help us out with a bit of a double bicep pose, just in case. Anybody? There we go. Just in case anybody is feeling a double bicep deficiency before they leave the pocket. Oh, look at that! Is that? It's hard to tell. Is the screen mirrored? Is that your left or your right?
Dude, don't even say that. Left doesn't exist.
Fantastic, gentlemen. Well, thank you so much, everybody in the chat. Thank you to everybody for supporting AWE, and stay tuned for tomorrow night where there'll be more arm wrestling tonight. Thank you very much again. Good night.
See ya.
See you later.